everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Online Warriors podcast. My name is Nerdbomber, and I am joined by my very good friend, Techtic.
Hello, hello.
We're here today with a little bit of a truncated episode because, once again, Illeagle was called away to very urgent and important business, and he left us two behind to take care of business.
To hold it down. But I do want to make mention of we're going to tweak things up a little bit in this episode. We are not going to do an ad break. We're here just going to plow through it to make sure that we can get you guys your content, but also make sure to give us some R&R. So we're going to have a abbreviated episode, no break, and just freaking sprint through this sucker.
But before we sprint through, before we, have our Olympic 40-meter dash or whatever it is.
We got to stretch.
Well, we have to... I'm sorry, what would Illeagle say? We would be remiss if we did not shout out our awesome Patreon producer, Mr. Steven Keller.
Bow, 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 bow.
Steven has been subscribing at the night level on our Patreon for a very long time now. He is awesome, and he helps keep the lights on here at Online Warriors Central. He is the absolute coolest. If you want to be like Steven, you can head on over to www.patreon.com/onlinewarriorspodcast, and you can get a whole bunch of benefits and goodies like Steven and our other Patreon subscribers do. At the page level, you'll get access to our monthly secret segment. At the Squire level, you'll get access to our monthly secret segment and our vlog, as well as some voting rights when we do have our quiz trivia game, when we have the full cast, of course. And if you are a knight, you become a producer on this show, like Steven, and you'll get a shout out every week, as well as occasional guest spots. So he is very cool. Shout out to Steven. And now we're going to get into it with some really cool and exciting news. And I think the one that we're most excited about, so we're going to just dive into this main topic here. We got a trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Guys, I don't know.
This looks great.
Yeah, I don't know how to express my excitement for this. The first two Sonic movies were fantastic. Like, I loved them. I was not sure what to expect when the first Sonic movie came out. I was a little skeptical that it would be good, but it was great. The sequel was also great. And when we saw the little post-credit snippet of Shadow the Hedgehog, that was fantastic, and I was stoked, and this trailer basically confirms how awesome I think this movie is going to be. So before we dive into the trailer itself, some details here. The movie is going to be released this December 20th, and if you're not sure of the little Easter egg behind that there, December 20th is also the OG release date of the Sonic Adventure 2 battle game that came out
Greatest
on the Nintendo GameCube. So that's super cool, a nice little homage to that game, especially because apparently this movie is going to be heavily based on Sonic Adventure. And I know we have the biggest Sonic Adventure fan in this house.
Hi, it's me.
I'm going to knock it over to Techtic.
Yeah, if you guys haven't played that game, first and foremost, please play it. The soundtrack is an absolute banger. The story is awesome. And the end, when Shadow goes, sayonara, Shadow. Sonic the Hedgehog, when Sonic goes, sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog, and they go their separate, it's so good. Oh my goodness, play that game. But anyway, there's a lot in this trailer that pays back to that. So the heartache that Shadow has seen, and I don't know if this is spoilers, but you kind of saw it in the trailer, is he loses this person near and dear to him, Maria, and that's his connection to humanity. And when she's taken from him, that's it. He's just I'm done with people. I'm done with everything. And he becomes a badass. So that's in Sonic Adventure Battle 2. Also, Dr. Robotnik's grandfather, not father, grandfather. I want to be clear. He says Papa in there, but that's his grandfather.
But I mean, to be fair, you've called your grandfather Papa, right? So
I did, but I want
a normal
for
thing.
People who don't know, I want them to know why it's a little bit strange that he's in there, because he's there's a decent time between the two. So that's really cool. One thing that I am confused about is a lot of the time Sonic gets a bad rap for Shadow. They think that Sonic's turncoat, and so the U.S. military is after him, but really it's just Shadow doing shenanigans. In this, it seems more like you're teaming up with the government, which is honestly something that makes a lot more sense, because if you can't see the difference between those two hedgehogs, you're blind. You are absolutely blind.
Well, I think too, if you look at the first two movies, like they kind of established Sonic works with, I can't remember
He's a good
James
guy.
Marsden's character's name, but he's a cop. I think in the second movie, maybe the first movie, I don't remember which movie, but Sonic worked with the government as well in some capacities. So like I feel like they would have a really good established, character check on Sonic and know like, hey, this does not look like the guy that we've been working with all along. So I am glad they kind of pivoted away from that storyline, because it just doesn't fit the character that they've kind of established, especially since, they've also got Knuckles and Tails in there. And it would be very weird if they tried to do this whole confusion thing, because obviously this team is together and it would just not work out with this background that they've already established in the cinematic universe of Sonic.
Absolutely. Now, the other thing that I want to make mention of that was not directly shown in the trailer, but you can kind of glean it, was the Chaos Emeralds are back in this. Shadow has to have one. His teleporting is because he carries around the green Chaos Emerald. And so that's going to bring back the potential for Super Sonic and Super Shadow. I mean, we've already saw Super Sonic, so let's bring the Silver Super Shadow. We're also going to see winks at the Shadow the Hedgehog game. Do you guys remember that game?
Yeah, that was like a very...
where he had a motorcycle and the gun?
Mature.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was badass. Like, it completely jumped the shark. But like, we saw the motorcycle, so we're getting like little... I don't think he's going to be like rocking Uzis, but like, we got the motorcycle, and that's wink enough for me.
But they did also have a hint that like, this is going to be a little bit darker of a movie, if just in that slight little battle they show in the trailer between Knuckles and Shadow, like it's not graphic because it's all animated and, it's not that graphic, but they kind of show him breaking Knuckles' wrist. And I feel like
Shadow needs to be dark though.
Right. But I feel like they're like nodding that it's not going to be this dumbed down version of Shadow. Like, he is going to be intense. He is going to be dark and brooding, and they're not going to shy away from that. They probably obviously have to like scale it back and can't do full like Shadow the Hedgehog PS2 game, but they can lean into how dark he is.
Even Sonic Adventure Battle 2, like I said, that game, it was dark. It had tear-jerking moments, and I'm so happy that they're taking inspiration from this. This is a must watch for me. I'm half tempted to say let's see this in theaters. Half tempted.
I think the only part of this trailer that kind of disappointed me, and I know this is a hot take and not everybody likes this opinion, but I was like so stoked about the first 75% of this trailer. And something
you hate Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey is just so over the top. Like, they had this sense of gravitas and this epic feel to this trailer, and then it kind of goes back to Jim Carrey slapstickness.
But Dr. Eggman is kind of over the top.
But he's not Dr. Eggman. He's Dr. Robotnik, and Dr. Robotnik was in the original games, not this like slapsticky character.
That's how he was in Sonic the Colors, Sonic Prisms, the one we were watching, and you didn't mind it. He's goofy but smart, but like slapsticky. That's his character.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that they're smart, but they're not slapsticky. And I think the physical humor and over the top, I keep saying slapsticky.
He didn't have dialogue in the original. He would be blown up, and then he'd do the like while he's like covered in soot, the double blink, and then fly away. There was no context there for him to be like.
I just think
he was a goof his whole career.
Jim Carrey's doing too much. Jim Carrey is doing too much.
He's grown on me. I think he's doing just the right amount.
No, I think he's doing a little bit too much. And maybe, obviously they're showing the Jim Carrey highlight reel in this trailer because they're not going to show him when being like serious or anything like that. So maybe that will come in the rest of the movie and it won't be so just back to back Jim Carrey-ness. But if that is the like how the character is portrayed, I felt like there was a decent balance in the other Sonic movies where it wasn't that excessive.
And you said you had the same take for Sonic 2 and Sonic 1 trailer. You were like, he's doing too much. And then it turned out to be perfectly balanced.
Right. But like that's my only fear. I really hope that it's not over the top. I really hope that he manages to find a good balance in this movie, especially because he will be working with Sonic as evidenced in the trailer. Like it just can't be him eating up screen time with like crazy facial expressions and weird humor. That won't hit for me. That won't hit for me at all. So anyway, unless you have any other comments on this movie, this looked dope.
Just fanboy. Yeah. That's it.
And this will be coming out, like I said, December 20th. Get your movie tickets ready. I wonder what kind of popcorn bucket we're going to get. Hopefully it's like a shadow bucket because I would buy the crap out of that. And here we go. I'm ready. So moving into the second topic of the day. This is a little bit of a different turn, but it's still in that TV movie entertainment bill. Netflix has announced and released a trailer for a new rom-com series, not a movie, but a series called Nobody Wants This, starring Kristen Bell and Adam Brody. And this will be coming out on September 26th. And the premise of this series is Adam Brody plays a rabbi who's, responsible. Rabbi. Sure. Who is like a more responsible member of society. And Kristen Bell plays a podcaster. They kind of gave me vibes of the
Online Warriors.
Not the Online Warriors. Like the canceled podcast vibe where you have like two people on a couch talking about like their lives and people they know and that kind of stuff and like hot goss. So she's a podcaster in that realm who's kind of like raunchy and obviously not as buttoned up as a rabbi would be. And they meet each other and they get together and it's rom-com series city.
Are we seeing a rom-com resurgence? I feel like we are. I feel like TV's getting back, or movies are getting back to it.
It's not everywhere though. It's mostly Netflix. Netflix, as we've talked about this before, Netflix is the single thing I think propping up the rom-com genre. The Zac Efron one, like All in the Family, or whatever the heck it was called, with him and Nicole Kidman and Joey King, like. We acknowledged it was entertaining, but also not like the best movie on the planet. But they also had Set It Up, which was one of the things that launched Twister's guy, whose name I can't remember right at the moment.
Glenn Powell.
Yes. Kind of helped not launch him, but like that was one of his first major things that kind of put him on the radar for a lot of people. They had One Day, which we watched, which was like a mini series. I would hesitate to call it a com, but it was like a rom-dram semi-com. They're just coming at us. Yeah, they're doing it. And they're the only ones I think that are really leaning into rom-com territory with wholehearted glee and joy. Because even when we do get like actual movies in the movie theater, I feel like it's one every now and then. They never do well in the actual theater. And then they come out on streaming like 2 weeks after it launches in the movie theater and nobody goes to see it. And then it's like, oh, the rom-com is dead. But no, I don't think anybody is really just embracing the rom-com genre, and you can tell. But Netflix does.
Would you prefer if this was just a single sit-through movie, like not this episodic thing?
I do wonder how they're going to draw it out over an entire series. That said, though, I have really been enjoying some of the, short series that we've been watching. Like One Day I thought was great. And I know it was a remake of a movie that already existed, but I think in the series format, it allowed you to really develop those characters and get to know them and see their relationship evolve over time. And I think that it worked really well in the series format. And I actually kind of liked it better than the original movie. So I'm not super mad about it. We'll see if it overstays its welcome. I feel like we're talking about balance a lot, but I feel like there's a delicate balance and you don't want, especially like a rom-com, you don't want it to overstay its welcome. I know Illeagle has this big thing about like a movie cannot be over 90 minutes if it's a rom-com. And obviously when you're talking about a series, I mean, it could just be a bunch of half-hour episodes, but even still, like you'll quickly eclipse that 90-minute runtime. So it really just depends on how they do it, how they evolve the characters, how long the series is going to be. If it's going to be one season, if they have like a cliffhanger ending and they're anticipating multiple seasons, like we don't know what it's going to be. So it's hard for me to tell until I watch it, honestly.
So one thing I wanted to comment and what this story kind of reminded me of is in Fleabag, there was that will they, won't they with the priest. But
yes.
The difference between rabbis and priests is a rabbi can get married. It can get married with someone outside of the faith. Like there's no rules. It's really just my mother's not going to like that issue and that's it. So I don't know. You really
pulled out your New York accent for that.
Yeah, I grew up around a lot of people who had the Jewish faith. Anyway, I don't know if like this is going to have like that level of gravitas, or if it's going to be more something like My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And if those of you who've seen that, it was all surrounded with, oh, he's not Greek. He's not Greek. And then at the end of the day, everyone was just fruit. My mom was just telling me the story about this movie, so it's fresh in my head. She loves that movie. And so I can see it kind of having a lot more of those vibes than the Fleabag vibes, which is interesting. And I think My Big Fat Greek Wedding is a perfect genre and perfect rom-com. So chef's kiss.
Like Fleabag too, one of the things that helped draw that story out was there was a lot of other stuff going on. Like their romance was a big part of the second season of that show, but there was a lot of other things that Fleabag was grappling with, like her relationship with her father and his new wife, her relationship with her sister, her relationship with herself and her cafe, and the death of her best friend. And so the relationship between Hot Priest and Fleabag were kind of like, it was there, but it wasn't the main thing. So there were a lot of other things that we were introduced to in season 1 that continued to build in season 2 and allowed that drawn out process to, feel like it was necessary.
So between those two plots, basically, we're kind of confirming here that this should really work better as a movie and not as an episodic thing. So that's kind of where I can see this being like, a little bit concerning, but it looks fun. So I'm on board.
I mean, I always love Kristen Bell in like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like when she plays the like trashy, raunchy character, I feel like she does it super well. Like she leans into that type of comedy really well. And I don't know, I'm optimistic. This comes out very soon, September 26th. Will you watch this with me?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Right now we're only watching Love is Blind. Might as well.
All right. And now, for our final topic of the day, we got a new announcement from Annapurna and Remedy, the creators of Control, Alan Wake, that they're going on a joint venture to produce the next Control game. So Annapurna and Remedy will be splitting the cost of Control 2 50-50. That will allow Remedy to maintain full independent creative control of Control 2, pun intended, so that they can, make the game that they want to make and not have anybody interfering with their creative direction. They'll also be able to self-publish, and they're also going to collaborate to produce a live-action adaptation of the Alan Wake and Control universe. I think this is actually really good. I think Remedy, and I don't want to knock on Quantum Break because I really liked that game, and I thought it was a very unique and innovative approach, having the like TV show element mixed in. I just think it was executed a little poorly to, kind of fit with the Xbox One launch and trying to make that like a TV entertainment station instead of just a game console. But I think Remedy, when they're given their full creative control and they don't have people interfering or telling them what to do, they make bangers of games. Like the storytelling and the world building that they put into their games is phenomenal, especially if you like anything sci-fi, university, like it is cream of the crop. So anything that kind of gives them, insulated control of their work going forward, I think is a really good thing. And even if Annapurna did have more say in their games, they've done so many really amazing independent game publishing and work. Stray, Neon White, Cocoon, Telling Lies, What Remains of Edith Finch, among many, many more. Like that, you can scroll on their webpage and basically every single game that they've had a hand in has been a banger. So I'm good with this. I really am excited about this.
Yeah, I'd say overall this is really good news. My real caution doesn't lie necessarily with the Control news. Control was a fantastic game. Control 2, hype. Live action Control, it seems like you can just kind of plop it right into that medium and it'll do well.
Especially because one of the things that Remedy does is like they use the good mocap. So like it looks like the actors. You could easily just hire those actors to make the movie, TV show, whatever. I'm
hesitant on a live action Alan Wake.
Why is that?
I think it plays well as a video game. I think it's because as a video game medium, you're kind of like immersed in the psychosis where you feel like you are going insane. Whereas watching someone else, it just feels like it's just going to be like this trippy, jump scary thing doesn't play well. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it could work well if they do it well as like a creepy, dark mystery style TV show. Probably a TV show more so than a movie, just because of how much lore there is in the Alan Wake universe. I think it would work pretty well. I mean, I'm picturing something like Apple TV, like dark, grim.
I just feel like they have to tone down all the jump scaring elements, or else it's just gonna be like It's just not gonna be enjoyable for a TV watch.
I don't play scary games. I've definitely seen my fair share of Alan Wake, though, like footage, YouTube, what have you. And from my understanding, the first game is a lot more atmospheric, and you're like walking around with a flashlight and you're trying to solve the mystery. And it is like creepy, but it's not as much jump scary as the second game, from what I've gathered. Again, I haven't played them. But I think if you kind of remove the jump scare elements, I think there's enough of a story there that you'll be fine. Do you think
it would play like the Blair Witch Project?
It could. Okay. I was more thinking, what was that little girl on a bike? Do you know that show that I'm talking about on Apple TV? And like, obviously wouldn't be like little girl.
Oh yeah, where she like solved the mystery.
Yeah, but there was like creepy stuff also, like, or they led you to believe there was creepy stuff, but really there wasn't creepy stuff.
Her dad was Alan Wake.
Sure. But like something like that, or like a mix with that and like Stranger Things vibes, I think would work well. Like Stranger Things, I think, had a really good mix of, you know, creepy atmosphere and jump scare. Like I think they balanced it well, where there weren't that many jump scares, and a lot of what made and like built apprehension in Stranger Things was just the creepy atmosphere. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think they could do that with Alan Wake. I think it would be good.
All right, fair enough. I can have some cautious optimism.
I mean, I feel like everything that Remedy has done, it almost feels like they write the story as if it is like a TV show or a movie first, and then they build an awesome game around it. So I have a lot of faith in them, especially like Annapurna, a subdivision of Annapurna Pictures. Like they did stuff like Joy, American Hustle, Hustlers, Nimona, Booksmart, just to name a few movies off the top of my head. And I don't know, I feel like they have a pretty good track record, and I don't think, you know, with their experience, I don't think they'll lead them astray. Like they know what works in movies. If something is going off the rails, I feel like having a partner like Annapurna Pictures will be good to be like, hey, this doesn't seem like it's working well. Maybe we can make some adjustments. Like, I don't know. I think it's a good partnership.
Fair enough. I mean, I think it's a great partnership. That's just my one caution. Everything else sounds like aces.
All right. And then I kind of know what you've been up to. So I'll kind of speak to us both here, but I want to get your opinion on the thing that we've been watching, Love is Blind UK. Walk me through your thoughts so far.
It's better.
We're about 8 episodes in, I think, to the season.
Love is Blind UK is 100% better than Love is Blind America, because the people on the show are just so much more genuine. Americans are, they come off as very self-centered and all about how I can find love for me, and not how I can find a partner. And it's just, it's so refreshing to see that there's normal people that just want to find love out there. And they got to cast better in America.
Well, I think part of the difference, and I'm interested to see now that they've announced the sequel, like there's going to be more seasons of Love is Blind UK. I found that the first season of the United States Love is Blind was a lot more wholesome and felt a little bit more genuine than any of the seasons that came after. And I think the problem was that nobody who signed up for season 1 knew if it would get big. You know, you would go on this TV show, but like genuinely, and I think Netflix actually reached out to people didn't apply for the first season. So these people were literally like, okay, well, you reached out to me. Sure, let's do it. Let's look for love. And I think the first season did feel more authentic and genuine. But then what happened was season 1 blew up in the United States, and people got influencer deals and were able to quit their jobs and become social media stars. And I think every season thereafter, people went in, they applied to Netflix because I think some of them just wanted fame. And I wonder whether that's kind of what's happening in the UK version, is that I don't know how much, you know, people in the UK watch the United States Love is Blind. I don't know if it's big over there, but maybe they didn't know what this was. And maybe this is the first season, and nobody on the show for the first season really had any idea of being catapulted to fame or thought that it would be a big deal. And I wonder if that will change as seasons progress, as it did in the United States.
Yeah, I hope not. I really hope not. I don't know if it's the people applying or really just the show wanting more of a train wreck of cast, just because that's what gets views and they wanted to keep the hype train going. I just don't ruin it, please, UK. It's so good this way. I like my wholesome cast.
Plus, they have like the world's hottest funeral director on the show. It's insane.
She needs to relax.
You literally said that if he got matched with anybody, it would be the hottest couple on any of the Love Is Blinds.
But he also got matched with the hottest girl on the show. Like,
all right. So we have been, like I said, mainlining Love Is Blind. We started the first episode of How to Train Your Dragon, the newest season, but we don't have a ton to talk about there because we're just one episode in. So we have the rest of that season. How to Train Your Dragon? No, the Dragon Prince. You can leave that in because dragons be dragons, man. No, I do love the Dragon Prince, but we're only an episode into the newest season. So we don't have a ton to talk about there, but stay tuned because we will finish that up at some point and we'll be able to chat with you. So if you want to talk about any of these topics with us, you can hit us up on Twitter. I am at OW Nerdbomber. He is at OW Techtic. We collectively are at Online Warriors 1, and you can feel free to heckle Illeagle at OW Illeagle if you like. Be like, yo, sucker, you weren't on the show and it was really awesome.
Yeah, sucker.
Haha, sucker. So feel free to hit us up there. Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate you. You know, you keep us going every week, and we hope you like what we put in your ear holes. Until next time, stay safe and keep on podcasting.
Now.